3. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Crypto Trading with Crypto Trader. This is your host, the one and only Marion. Can you guys hear me? Please let me know because I was having issues and I had to restart this live stream. All right, perfect. Man, that was a fiasco there for a second. But yeah, welcome to anybody that's new, that's finding this live stream. It's a pleasure to have you. And if you haven't done so already, please click on that subscribe button as well as the post notification. Stay connected with us on Steam, Twitter, as well as Facebook. And definitely sign up for our mailing list as well as our general chat room for Slack. And you can do that by going to cryptotradersroom.com and answering the brief questionnaire. And then just answer it truthfully. That's all that we ask. And once we get that questionnaire, we'll go ahead and vet it and send out some invitation. But Daniel, strong hands, what is up, buddy? Welcome. Missed you on the live stream on Monday. I don't think you were on, or maybe you were on kind of incognito, but welcome. But yeah, don't be shy. If you're new to this, say what's up. Don't be shy. But what is going on in this market? BTC breaking 10,000, breaking 11,000 as though it was nothing. We'll take a look at BTC. We'll take a look at some of the major cryptocurrencies. But yeah, that 10,000 gave it a little bit of an issue, just a little bit of an issue. Now, I mean, we are pulling back a little bit, but I don't think it's anything to be kind of concerned about, but there are going to be supports and resistance. So let me go ahead and get rid of some of these things that I've plotted out in the past. But yeah, it had a little bit of hard time breaking out above the 10,000, just a little bit. But once it broke out of it with a vengeance. And for it to get to 11,485, 11,500, depending on what exchange you're looking at, because every exchange is going to have different pricing. But yeah, that was a massive, massive move. And, is this a real move or is it really artificialated? It is, in my opinion, it's an artificial move, unfortunately. Now we are seeing, and I think this is a perfect time for me to do the live stream. We are seeing a somewhat of a pullback, and this is a major pullback. We're pulling back almost $1,000 within a matter of 45 minutes, I'm going to say, because this candlestick really hasn't closed yet. But yeah, this could be a massive, massive pullback to bring it below that $10,000 level. And I'll try to interact with you guys, but let me go ahead and enlarge this chart. So we're looking at the 30-minute chart. Let's go ahead and zoom out to the 2 hours. So, last live stream I did, we talked about it hitting, 5,400, 5,500, depending what exchange you're on. Bitfinex, it was 5,400. And I did say it would hit 5,000. Unfortunately, I was off by $400. But if anybody got in at those levels and you didn't take profit, I don't know what you're thinking, to be honest with you, or at least lock in some of the profits. I would never recommend to sell everything at once, but lock in some of the profit. I mean, you're up basically 100% within a very, very short period of time. So to not lock in those profits, it's just kind of unheard of. It's kind of wishful thinking that this thing would just keep going up and up and up. Within 2 weeks, it's gone up way, way too much, 100% increase. And we've seen these types of increases. But you got to learn to lock in those profits because these pullbacks will happen. And they could be minor, they could be major. So major support right now is really, that psychological level of 10,000. That is the main support that we have. And I'm hoping audio is still good. Everything's working. 10,000 is that psychological level that it has to maintain in order for this really healthy move or artificially move, for it to really hold going forward, within the next couple of days. But, my honest opinion, there's a link I'm going to share with you guys, and I'll share it on the Slack. Actually, not on the Slack, on the chat. Let me go ahead and make sure these are situated the right way. But, I don't know what you guys think about this move, but I mean, this is just an insane type of move. And honestly, this is, instead of ICOs being created on Ethereum and being a money grab, I think these forks are becoming the new ICOs. They're becoming the money grab. And, Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Gold are not the only forks that we are going to see. There are speculations, and I'll share that link with you guys, that there are going to be other forks that are going to be possibly happening. So December 15th, and these are all speculations, possibilities. December 15th, let me go ahead and share this with you guys, actually. December 15th, Super Bitcoin, block number, 498888. December 23rd to December 24th, Bitcoin Platinum, block number 500,000. December 31st, Bitcoin uranium. January 2nd, Bitcoin Cash Plus. And I mean, this is just insane. This is becoming the new ICO, the new money grab, where anybody can just fork BTC and start printing money out of nowhere. I mean, this is like the Federal Reserve printing dollar bills out of nowhere, not being backed by anything at all. And this is a little scary. I did not expect this to be happening whatsoever with BTC. I could understand one or two forks, but to continuously have these forks possibly happening, that's really what's driving this market. That's really what's driving BTC to levels that should not be at these levels, within a very short period of time. This is way too high. It's way too quick. And the drop is going to be massive. It is going to be massive, and it's going to catch a lot of people off guard to the point where they're going to panic and sell. People jumping off of buildings, causing heart attacks. I mean, let's think about it this way. Whoever bought, somebody bought this at 11,485. Someone sold it at the top. Someone also bought it at the top. I mean, imagine what they're going through right now, watching this thing dip to 10,450. A drop of $1,000 within, I'm going to say, probably 45 minutes, not even an hour yet. Yeah, so this candlestick hasn't really closed yet. So, within about 45 minutes, that's a huge drop. That is a huge drop, especially if they decided to kind of go all in, massively purchase a good amount, thinking that this thing would, go up to 12,000, 13,000 and whatnot, 15,000. 10,000 was a great level for it to break, and it needed to break that. But for it to continuously break, and just keep going up to 11,000, it's unrealistic. This is not, I had to wake up this morning and kind of pinch myself and be like, is this real? Is this move a realistic move? And honestly, it's not. It is not. It's being heavily, heavily manipulated. And that's a scary thing about this cryptocurrency market that we're in. I mean, yes, Bitcoin can get up to, 50,000, 100,000. That $500,000 bet that I have with my boy Scott for that case of Blue Moon by 2028. Scott, I know you're on this live stream, so I haven't forgotten about that. And it's being recorded, so I'm going to hold you to it. It will get to those levels, but it's not going to get to those levels within a very short period of time. And this 100% move that we're seeing within a matter of 2 weeks, it's too fast. It's too quick. It's unrealistic. It's unheard of. And this isn't the norm. Yes, we've seen a lot of gainers in BTC and a lot of gainers in a lot of other alts, but this isn't normal at all. And it is a wild, wild west. And, Bitcoin and any cryptocurrency can be easily manipulated to just keep going up and up and up. And I think a lot of people kind of forget that, it's going to break down, but it's just a matter of when. And I always have that in the back of my mind. Like, when I see something going up so high, so quick, it is going to break down. It's just a matter of, am I going to be caught off guard when this thing breaks down? So, we'll see exactly how this candle, closes. We're going to definitely keep an eye on it. We'll take a look at other cryptocurrencies. OMG, I definitely want to take a look at that because I did cover that a little bit. And hopefully, people took profit at that, close to that $10, like I said, because it was going to have a pullback and it was going to retest, where the prior resistance was to make that a new support. And from when I looked at it this morning, it did exactly what I said it was going to do. And it really retested that support line to a T. So we'll definitely keep an eye out on BTC going forward. But yeah, I think, we'll definitely be covering BTC a good amount of time today. Okay, listen. So everything is down. Everything is at the current moment taking a hit. So on Monday when I did cover OMG, I forget who it was, somebody asked me to take a look at it. It was right around the 850, just hovering right around this support really prior resistance becomes current support. I've always said that, and I will continue to say that. So if you're charting anything out, look at where the prior resistance was and see if it breaks out above that prior resistance. And if it breaks out of it nicely, that's really going to be where the support is going to be. So, we had a break of 850. It maintained it, got up to 995. I said $10 would be a resistance for it. Let me go ahead and enlarge this because there was another resistance that I plotted out, which was, I think, 1140. 1138, 1140 was the second area of resistance. And I basically said, on Monday that, first area of resistance is going to be that $10. If it can break out of it with a vengeance, and it has to be a clear confirmation of a breakout above that $10 psychological level of resistance, then, the second area of resistance is going to be that $11.40. And what did it do? I mean, it got to, 5 cents shy of that $10. And it broke down. When it broke down, where did it break down to? It broke down to where the prior resistance was that formed it as a new support. So, it's not 100%, but the probabilities are always there. I would say anywhere from 80 to 90% that they do form a prior resistance as a current support. So, if you're looking to get into something's running up too high, I don't recommend chasing it. Plot out where the prior resistance was, that it, broke out above it with a vengeance. And that's really where I would put the order in. It might not hit it right away, but, within several hours, maybe a day, it'll retest that level again. And that's exactly what it did. So it retested to 850. Hopefully people played that. But, we'll see what happens now with BTC really taking a huge dump. Whether, that 850 is still going to maintain, or is it going to break down through it and retest out the second area of support, which that second area of support would be right around the $6.75. All right, let's get out of OMG though, but I wanted to take a look at OMG just briefly. See what you guys are saying, answer some questions, and, hopefully you guys have those strong hands like Daniel always says. Ponzi's down 34%. You got to expect that. Yeah, especially, when BTC is going up, you got to expect Ponzi. Also, Daniel, I was thinking about you the other day when I found this coin, and I was like, this would be perfect for Daniel to invest in. And it's Paycoin, but the ticker symbol is Con. And I was like, that's perfect for Daniel right there. So you can get your Con and Ponzi coin and create your own index fund, bud. But yeah, there's tons of them out there. There's tons of them. And, if you're really serious about this cryptocurrency market and not looking to chase or not really looking to lose money, stick to the top 20. That's really what I would recommend. And right now, the top 17 are over $1 billion in market cap. Over $1 billion in market cap. OMG is very close to hitting that billion, 40, right around $55 million away from it. List is getting ready to hit it. But yeah, the top 20 will be over $1 million, or over $1 billion. Let me go ahead and refresh this because this is still showing BTC at 11. Okay. So 1084, $10,000, $10,850 basically. Can I look into, what was that Peep coin? Who asked me about that? Where is that comment? I just briefly glanced at it. I can pull it up, Daniel. Give me a second to get through some of these comments. I'm gonna write it down. I think you mentioned that in the past. All right, so F is pulling back as well too. I don't think F hit above $500. Let's take a look at GDAX real quick. Actually, it did 518, $518. So we'll see. The nice thing about F is that it had not had this type of run that it really deserved. And I think, I've said it in the past and I'll keep saying it again. It's the shady ICOs that were really cashing out as soon as they get their F, and either just closing up shop and leaving, or, they need to pay the utility. They need to pay bills. So they got to be able to cash out to fiat or whatever it might be. But, it really held that $450. It held it. So, going forward, that is going to be the first area of support for it. That 450, it has to maintain that in order for this healthy move that we've had, breaking above 400, breaking above, 420, which was the all-time high, depending on what exchange you're looking at. And as we can see that, 420-ish range, it had a little bit of an issue, just a little bit of an issue for almost, what is that, almost a day, 24 hours, where it broke out above it, 428, then got to 426, and then broke below that 420, and then 421, and before really having a nice parabolic move above that 450. So 450 is going to be a support line for it. Matthew, good morning. Welcome, buddy. Let's see what you're saying. I haven't been the biggest fan of IOTA. No, not really. But, it has made a nice move. But let's think about it this way, though. Every cryptocurrency, the past couple of weeks has made a crazy, crazy move. Everything has. SAN. I was looking at SAN, and I had a buttload of position of sand at 25 cents. 14,000 sand tokens at 25 cents. And it hit $1.40, $1.49, I think it was. So sitting at $1.21 now. So everything has had a massive, massive push to the upside. Except for OMG. OMG has been somewhat suppressed. And there's a couple of them that have been somewhat suppressed. But IOTA, has had a massive move. EOS has had a massive move. I mean, these were sitting at, in the range of 50 to 60 cents just not long ago. And now we got EOS sitting at, hitting over $3 basically, and IOTA hitting, $1.50, something to that extent. And, and I'm sure IOTA can do great things, and I'm sure it can. I'm not saying that it won't. But can it do it now? I mean, it needs positive news to be coming out. I mean, let's take a look at, I really won't take a look at the chart. And I'm not a big fan of XRP, not a big fan of it at all. But they seem to be coming out with news just about every single day. And I think it hit 30 cents, 28 cents, which was a resistance that it had back in September. So, prior resistance, unless it breaks out of it with a vengeance, is still going to be a current resistance for it. And over again, they have proven to us. So the probabilities, are always there. It's not 100%. It has to break out of that prior resistance with a vengeance in order for it to not really be a resistance. So, I always say, lock in a little bit of the profit, sell 20%, sell 15%, sell a quarter of your position, when it gets to that resistance, because more than likely there is a breakdown, unless there's a clear confirmation of a breakout, which it can happen. But then at least you locked in some of the profit at, 28 cents or 29 cents, whatever it got close to, 28,127. And then you can actually buy back in cheaper, with the profit and the capital that you've taken. But no, I wouldn't recommend, for Matthew, I wouldn't buy IOTA at this current level. I wouldn't at all. I would wait for a major pullback. And when that major pullback happens, all the major cryptos that have really gone up a lot are going to come down. One of the ones that I really saw explode was Cardano. I'm not a fan of Cardano, and I'm not a fan of it not because of the fundamental. I don't really know much about the fundamentals of it, but I'm not a fan of it because just the circulating supply is humongous. I mean, it moved up to number 10, to almost $3 billion market cap currently at this level. But they have almost 26 billion in circulating coins. So let's see what the total supply is. That's really not circulating. So max supply, 45 billion. Total supply right now, 31 billion. Circulating supply, almost 26 billion. That's really what I don't like about it. But it had a huge, massive move, almost under 400%. I think it went up just probably a little under 400%. But yeah, it was just at 3 cents when I was just looking at it. 3 cents. And then it gets up to 13 cents. If it's not inflated, I don't know what is, to be honest with you. I really don't. Panic sell is the knobs trading mistake. Yeah, because, to be honest with you, they should have taken profit, when it broke out above 11. I honestly, it's just, if I had BTC, I would have instantly locked in those profits instantly. For it to go up from 10,000 to 11,000 within a matter of, very short period of time. I mean, we could take a look at it and calculate the time that it took for it to get up there. 3 hours maybe? So this is a 6-hour candlestick price action movement that we're looking at. I'm going to say probably 18 hours. Less than 18 hours, actually, because this candlestick really hasn't closed yet. But yeah, for it to go up, less than a day, maybe 14 hours, I'm going to say something to that extent. Actually, let me get it a little granular on this. Maybe look at the 1 hour. So 13 hours that it took to get up from 10,000 to 11,000. I mean, that's huge. That is huge. It's way too fast. It's way too quick. And, it's smart money that's taking profit. It's a smart money that knows that, this is not a sustained type of move at all. And, I'm not going to sell everything because, there could be newbies that are going to chase this thing and drive it up higher, but I'm going to lock in a shitload of my profit and I'm going to wait for a dip to happen. And I'm sure, they're probably waiting at 10,000 to buy back in if they haven't already bought back in at 10,500, which I'm sure they probably haven't yet. Scott M, you'll enjoy your blue moon. I don't know, buddy. I don't know. 10 years from now, 500,000, it's very attainable. It's very attainable. But we'll see. We'll see. Oh, excuse me. Ramsey, good morning. Welcome. Or good afternoon, depending where you are. What are the chances of it breaking down past 10,000? Very likely. 10,000 is really a support line for it. And that is going to be the very psychological level, as though, it was a psychological level for it to break out. And it did break out with a vengeance. So, 85 to 90% of the time, prior resistance becomes current support. And that 10,000 was a resistance for a very extended period of time where it attempted to, it got pulled back down, attempted to, got pulled back down, but it just hovered underneath that 10,000. So that tells me that, there might be a very strong type of support at that $10,000 level. And if we really take a look at this even a little closer, let's look at this on a 30-minute chart. That 10,000 did prove to be a support line. As we can see, it had a nice push up. It pushed up to what, a little under 11,000, 10,928, depending on what exchange you're looking at. This is GDAX. But it did pull back down. It pulled back down to $10,040, and it pulled back down to $10,032. It held that $10,000 level. So 10,000 is a support for it. It's a first area of support. Now, can it break through it? Yeah, it definitely can. Will it? I have no clue. I can't say if it's going to hold. It all depends, where the exchanges and the whales are willing to support this thing. And, it'll find a little bit of area of support at that 10,000. Unless that support is massive, I don't see this thing really getting back up to the 11,000. So that support has to be massive. And if people start panicking, the newbies start panicking, then and they start selling, and selling really intensifies and it outweighs the buyers, then yeah, she is going to retest a second area of support. And that second area of support, let's see if I need to apply it on a new area of support. Probably not, though. Really, it's that second area of support that I see, if 9,500 doesn't hold, is going to be that $8,300. A pullback to $8,300 is very realistic. It needs to pull back, to be honest with you. It can't just keep going up and up and up. Now, in my honest opinion, it's not going to pull back anytime soon. It might not pull back today, it might not pull back tomorrow, but it will retest this $8,300 level. It has to retest it. There's just no way that it's not going to retest it and keep going up and breaking 12,000, 13,000, and so on and so on. Because then just the crash of it is going to be massive. And this has shown us that, for a very extended period of time, that 8,400, let's see exactly what it is. We'll just say 83.50 just to make the math easy, but it was really 83.75, so 83.50, 83.75 is going to have a very solid support, because as we can see, for a very extended period of time, that's really where it consolidated underneath that level. So if it breaks 10,000, which is a psychological level, which I can definitely see it breaking, 9,800, my honest opinion, I don't think it's going to hold. 95 will hold for a little bit, and then, before we know it, she'll be coming down 83, 75, $8,900, something to that. I'm sorry, $8,500, 84.75, somewhere in that range. It has to retest those levels. You're giving $25 paper BTC wallet for Christmas present. Dude, that's awesome. That is awesome. I'm sure, whoever you give it to will be very fond of it, especially if they, if they're young and they hold it for a very extended period of time. All right, let's take a look at F. Somebody's asking to take a look at F. Let's see what it hit on Bitfinex. Yeah, I mean, we could see, Daniel, we could see a dead cat bounce, and a lot of times that's what we see. We see a dead cat bounce to trap people in, and then it massively just breaks. So, that's definitely a possibility. That 10,000, it is a support. It's a first area of support. And usually, first area of support, you'll get a dead cat bounce. And if it decides to hold, that's great. It'll hold it. If it breaks through it, it'll retest out the second area of support. It'll have a nice little dead cat bounce. And if sell intensifies, it all depends on, the battle between the bears and the bulls. Who's going to try to maintain the price action movement? And if the bears are going to win, more than likely, it'll have a nice dead cat bounce, but just the buy-in is not going to sustain that type of move. The bears step in, they drive it down further. All right, F, support line, first area of support. We're looking at right at the 450, like I said earlier. 450 has to hold, considering, that's where really she bounced up from for an extended period of time. In the cryptocurrency market is not that long. But ever since the 25th, is that the 25th? I'm sorry, the 24th. And today happens to be the 29th. So, for the past 5 days, not quite 5 days, 4 days, basically, because, the day is still fresh. It's maintained above 450, except once or twice. If, it fell through at 446, basically. But that 450 has to hold in order for this to have really a good support line. Now, it could hold. Like I said, we could see a nice little dead cat bounce from it. But if the selling intensifies, because it's getting a little bit of attraction to the upside and the bears kind of step in and start shorting, or selling just intensifies from it because it's having a nice little dead cat bounce, then, it's going to test out second area support. And that second area of support is going to be right in the range of $400 to $389. So $400 is going to be a psychological level for it as well, too. Considering that 420, actually, let's see. I'm sorry, 420 is going to be a psychological level for it because that was really the high, especially on GDAX, where it could not really maintain that level. So let's go ahead and get to GDAX, actually. I forgot I already had it plotted out. So 450 is currently the psychological level, first area of support for it. Second area of support, 420. And that's probably the biggest psychological level, considering that's where it broke out from its all-time high in the past that it is set. When it was just heavily suppressed, it had a hard time breaking, got to 395, broke back down to 260, 275, I'm going to say. And I still have my entry from 286, and I'm still happy with it. And I think I will still continue to hold it, considering, I'm not holding that much, 2.3, I think something to that extent. But, there's no sense in me, cashing out and selling it. At this current time. Now, if she gets to, the 550, 600, to be honest with you, yeah, I will cash out because that's 100% profit basically. And at 100% profit, you know what, I'm happy with it. And I'll just wait to buy back in a little more, maybe buy 2.75 with the profit and the capital. So 250, is the current area support, 255, 250-ish. Second area support, $420. Third area support, that $400 psychological level that it should not break down, considering it got rejected, heavily when it got to 395 in the past. Let's go ahead and take a look at that 395. There it is right up here. So, it does have some really key levels that, it has to maintain, and I'm sure buyers will support these key levels. Prior resistance, not 100%, but prior resistance does become current support 85 to 90% of the time, unless sell intensifies, unless there's crazy stuff that's happening within the market, and then it'll crash through it. But, at that level, you could have a nice little dead cat bounce, attempt to kind of get back above, the first area of support. Well, I'm sorry, the second area of support, which is the 420, because a lot of times what they do is when they come back down and they end up breaking through the support line, on the way back up, that becomes a resistance. So let's just say hypothetically, this thing kind of breaks to 400 and it maintains 400 and consolidates and attempts to get right back up. 420 is still going to be a resistance for it. If it breaks out above 420, 450 is still going to be a resistance for it unless it's breaking out of those with a vengeance. But, this needs to come down. It needs to consolidate. It just can't keep going up. And this massive push, basically from 470 to 518, for F, that's big. That's $48 basically, almost $50 that it went up within a very short period of time on one candlestick, and 12-hour candlestick, which this candlestick hasn't even closed yet. Darkness, welcome, buddy. Welcome. It's great to see you on here. Yeah, Charlie Lee. Man, you know what? I'm a big fan, and I'm glad LTC is doing well. Um, Not just for him, but for everybody who probably doubted LTC. And Charlie Lee getting a lot of hate for not pumping LTC, and he could easily pump it. Yeah, so for it to break out 100, I think it got to 104, 105, I'm going to say. Let's see. And these are something I had plotted out a while back. So let's see how she reacted to it. That $98, was that 98? Yeah, 98.28 was a massive push that it had. And of course, it completely broke back down. But everything broke back down at that time. So 33.56 is what it came down to. Hopefully anybody that bought that at the top basically put it in a hardware wallet and just said, you know what? I'm going to leave it. I'm not even going to touch it. There's no sense in me selling for this huge loss, because now they would have definitely recuperated whatever they had lost and made a little bit of a profit, not much, because really from 98 to 100 is not that much of a move. But hopefully they were holding on to it. But yeah, so, looking at this, looking at really areas of resistance for it that it had, clear confirmation of a breakout. Broke out above the 73. 73 was a resistance for it. 69 was a resistance for it. The nice thing about this was that it maintained that 69. So between 73.50 and 69, let's just say 70, 69.50-ish, it maintained it, it consolidated, and we're looking at a 12-hour price action movement. So if you really look at this a little closer, you're going to see a lot more price action movement. The fighting between the bears and the bulls, within that suppressed range of $73 to 69.50. But when it broke out above the 73, it broke out of it with a vengeance, and it continued to break other psychological levels that should have had a hard time, where it should have pulled back. And that was this level right here on this red candlestick, which was 93.85. 93.85, it touched it. So actually, let me get a little closer on this and take a look exactly on this candlestick here where it got to 93.89 and broke back down. And I think I did briefly talk about that on the last live stream I did. So that 93.89, 93.85 was a resistance in the past. It touched it, broke down, but it didn't break down much. It basically just kind of consolidated. So it only broke down to 86.75, which for LTC, I mean, that's a big drop. So let's just say 87, from 87 to 93, $6, over $6, almost $7 drop. So a lot of times, like I've said in the past, where, if you're able to plot out where the possible resistance might be, and this thing really starts to go up, wait for it to hit that resistance and pull back down and then take an entry, especially if it's just going up way too fast, way too quick. But then coming back around, it broke out above that $93.89, broke out of it with a vengeance, but then came back down and retested the prior resistance, forming as a new support. And I mean, you guys will see this a lot, and I'll keep mentioning it over and over again on these live streams. Prior resistance formed it as a current support with these two candlesticks here. So it didn't break down. That's a healthy move. It's going to maintain it, and it maintained it, moved up to 103. But, when it hits all-time high, you got to lock in some profits. So we'll see exactly, how the day's going to go. If BTC starts to pull down, a lot of these other alts will pull down with it, and people basically, might be going to USD or going into USDT. Bossless, man, I'm so sorry to hear that, buddy. Girlfriend broke up with you. Now you're sad. Don't be sad, man. You got crypto, If you don't have a girlfriend or you don't have a wife, that should be your one true love, cryptocurrency, and that's why I always refer to them as she, because if I didn't have a wife, this would be my love, and I would have tons of time to dedicate to it. But yeah, having a wife and having 3 kids, yeah, it's like, BTC and cryptocurrency, it's like my mistress. I'll give it a little bit of time here and there when I can. But yeah, that's a whole different conversation. But yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, bud. I'm sorry to hear that. But yeah, I'm sure she will regret it when you become that, cryptocurrency or Bitcoin millionaire, which a lot of people have become within a very short period of time. within a year, January, when it dropped to, $780, under $800, there's a lot of people that, bought a good amount. And as long as they didn't panic and sell when we had these crazy, FUD being spread from China, yeah, they're definitely millionaires or maybe billionaires. Bits before, yeah, dude. Oh, excuse me. I got to mute this microphone for a second. All right, I apologize for that. You hate XRP? Yeah, I mean XRP is a love and hate relationship. I wish it was just utilized more by the banks. Now, if it can later on down the line in the future, I think it can do great. But they also need to burn those tokens and not release, billions and billions onto the market. I think they locked up like 50 to 60 billion tokens. That's only going to flood the market. Matthew, that's great, man. That's great. Average cost 65 cents on IOTA, and I think it got to $1.50. Might have broke it over $1.50. But yeah, there's no shame in taking profit, guys. There's really no shame in taking profit whatsoever. If you're up so much, don't get greedy. Greed is what's going to kill you. Well, not kill you literally, but greed is really what's going to take your profit. You might not lose everything, but you're going to give up majority of your profit. And it's best to lock in the profit, and if it goes up, yeah, you know what? You might kick yourself, but if it goes down, you're going to pat yourself on the back and be like, wow, I'm glad I took that profit. Because really, with this cryptocurrency market, you can't predict what it's going to do. But not sell everything at once. And that's why I would never recommend to sell everything at once. Because if it does break out, you still have more that you can lock in, and you're going to capture, a larger slice of that pie instead of selling everything and locking in, a nice slice of that pie, and then it ends up going up higher. Whereas, if you sell everything and it goes down, then you sold at the top and you locked in a larger slice of that pie. But yeah, there's no shame in taking profits whatsoever, to be honest with you. All right, let's take a look at IOTA real quick for Matthew, since he is holding IOTA at 65 cents. So you basically got in right where this support was, right where it broke down to. And like I've said before, prior resistance. And that's why, usually when I look at a chart, so this is what I'll do. I'll take a look at, 6 hours, 12 hours, one day. I'll take a look at the overall picture and look and see, what key areas did it bounce up from, or what key areas did it break down from? And I mean, this is just a textbook example. From that 65, it broke down. From that 65, it had a clear confirmation of a breakout. And then it retested this area of resistance. And then when it came back down from this spot right here, let me put another circle there. What did it really test out? It tested out where it was a prior resistance. If it basically broke out of it with a vengeance, but it's got to come back down and retest that level again. Now, it's not always 100%, but the probabilities are always there that they will retest. And that's exactly what it did. So it came right back down. It touched that 65, which was a prior resistance. If it allows me to put a circle there, maybe not a circle. It retested basically what was a prior resistance that had a hard time breaking out. It broke down, and it broke out of it with a vengeance. And that's just a clear confirmation of a breakout. So then it will tell you, where is the second area of resistance? Where should I take profit? And that profit would have been at $1. Did it even get to $1? I don't think it got to $1. It got to 98 cents, 98.4, basically almost 98.5 cents. So you would be looking to take profit before that psychological level, because it might not get to that psychological level of $1. And that is a really psychological level for it. But when it broke down to 65 cents, 66 cents, basically 60.666 is what it broke down to, which is really close to that prior resistance. Broke out of it with a vengeance, formed it as a new support before really heading up to that $1.50-54. So let's say going forward, and actually let's take a look at this high too in the past. That high was $1.10, because it had a really nice run up from 24 cents to $1.10. That $1.10 really wasn't phased too much at all. So on this candlestick, and I'll probably got to get in just a little more granular to take a look at this candlestick here before it had this crazy massive parabolic move within a 12-hour period, going from $1.02 to $1.47. So let's zoom in on this area real quick. Maybe 2 hours. All right, so $1.19 is what it hit, and broke out past that $1.10, which was let me get it a little better at this. What was the resistance on this? $1.10. Okay. So this $1.10 here was a prior resistance, and if you looked at the previous history, you would have, and you weren't being greedy at all, you would have locked in some profit at that level, expecting it to break back down. But what did it really do? It didn't break down completely, because the overall market was just trending upwards. But it did break down a little bit, and it didn't break down below $1, which was a psychological level. Prior resistance of that $1 has become a new basically support, but it was supported right above that $1, almost $1.02, a little under $1.02 was supported, but had a clear confirmation on the 1-hour chart of a breakout above that $1.10, $1.19, and that 119 held pretty nicely. 119 is there. So once it had a nice break above the 119, consolidated for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, almost 6 hours. 6 hours consolidated in that range. And the longer they consolidate in that range, the probability of it having a nice push up to the upside are there. It's not 100%, but the probabilities are more likely, especially with the way the overall market is going. Now, if the overall market was tanking and it was consolidating in that range, more than likely then the probabilities are going to tell you that it's going to take a drop. So first area of support for this going forward is going to be that $1.20. If $1.20 cannot hold, second area of support is not going to be the 110, but it's going to be the $1. So that $1 is going to be the next psychological level, second area of support that it has to hold. So that's why there's double lines here. If it can maintain that $1 and consolidate, and then the overall market starts really uptrending, then this thing will get back up and possibly retest the resistance of all-time high of $1.54, $1.55. Let's just say $1.50. But getting close to $1.50, if it does, that is going to be a resistance for it, and it could kind of break down or possibly break out of it with a vengeance. If it breaks out of it with a vengeance, you got a clear confirmation that there's nobody that's looking to sell. There's more buyers that are looking to support this thing. But if it gets to that point and kind of teeter-totters, then you might need to lock it. Well, I would be locking in some of the profits. Let me see what you guys are saying, and then if there's any cryptocurrencies you want me to take a look at, I'll gladly look at them. Matthew, yeah, definitely. Anything you have, send it to me. Definitely send it to me, and I'll gladly take a look at it. I don't hate IOTA. I don't really hate anything, to be honest with you. Hate's such a strong word. I just wasn't a fan of the price action movement. That's really what it was. But the Internet of Things, it could definitely dominate. It could. Later on down the line in the future, it could be something great. Also tomorrow, The Big Bang Theory. Yes, I'm gonna have to try to remember to watch that because yeah, they are going to be talking about BTC, I guess. That'll be interesting. That'll be interesting. There's a lot of people that watch it, and that's just going to really help with mass adoption. But hopefully they're not caught at the wrong time, buying at the all-time high and having this thing just completely break down on them. I mean, if I was new to the cryptocurrency market and I see BTC going up and people are just talking about it and I end up buying BTC at, 11,000 and it breaks down to 8,000, I'm going to be like, well, that was a waste. Why did I even listen to these people? Why did I even get in? SE, welcome. Pullback 7,800 is possible. Well, I mean, it's got areas of support. And, the first area of support, I guess it all depends what exchange you're looking at. So you guys got to remember, I'm looking at Bitfinex. I might be looking at GDAX. So depending what exchange you're looking at, the area of support for it could be a little different. So let me get back to GDAX, because I think I have more things plotted out on GDAX. GDAX is really down. Yeah, GDAX sucks. It sucks. I haven't used it in a long, long time. So let's see. You said $7,800. What happened to 7,800? 7,800 is really the bottom of that suppression range. So the suppression range is between that 8,300 to 7,800. So you're picking the bottom of the suppression range. So let me go ahead and look at this maybe a little better. So the prior high on this was 7,898. And then it pulled back down just a little bit. So, I mean, yeah, you got a good point. You got to put a very good point. You're just picking the bottom part of the suppression and the bottom part of the prior peak. So if we really look at this a little better, prior resistance, that resistance was 78.90, 78.98. Let's just say $7,900. Attempted to break out 79.88, couldn't do it. 79.90, 79.74, 79.85, it couldn't do it. Consolidated for a very extended period of time before it had a really nice, somewhat of an upward trend, but still suppressed between 83.75 to 7,900 and then had a clear confirmation of a breakout. So the probabilities are there for that 7,800 bucks. Who was mentioning that? I forget who mentioned that real quick. SE. I think that was you that mentioned it. Okay, yeah, it was. So when I usually take a look at, what is a prior area of support for this thing based on, where majority of the battle happened between the bears and the bulls. So you have a high probability of that 8,300 being a very, very solid support. Now that's as long as, buyers are there to support it at that specific level. The probabilities are a lot higher for somebody to support it, considering that's the area, the high end of the suppression area, that 83.75-ish, before having a clear confirmation of a breakout. So that is going to be the most solid support if we do have a crazy downtrend going forward. But the bottom end of that suppression range is, you're absolutely right, that's 7,800 bucks. But I would probably bet more on that 83.75 than having this thing break down below 8,000. So, I mean, yeah, to be patient. I mean, the best way to play this thing is, not to wait for that 7,800 bucks, because that 7,800 may not happen at all. But to get an entry in at 83.75 or 83, but not get, don't put a lot into it, and see how she handles that first really major, not first area of support, because it does have other areas of support, like the 10,000 and the 9,500. But to see how she reacts to it, if she does get to that level of 8,375, 8,400, and if she breaks through it, then you know where your second area is going to be, which is going to be that 78, 78.50-ish, something to that extent. Then you have a little bit more capital to add more to it and lower your cost average. But yeah, you're absolutely right. It's just the lower end of that suppression range, and the probability is probably just a little lower than the probabilities holding up at 8,375. Ramsey, you're thinking of short BTC. Dude, I've heard people shorting BTC, at 8,000, and hopefully they covered. And, I would just be very careful. I'm not going to tell you not to short it. I'm not going to tell you to short it. I would just be very careful and don't walk away from a short position. Be ready to cover. It's being short in anything, it's not a long-term hold. You got to remember that. It's a very short-term hold because it could completely backfire on you. And if it backfires on you, you're going to be liquidated. The exchanges don't give a F about anybody that's shorting. They will instantly liquidate you. You can go watch the F flash crash, video that I did. A lot of people got caught. I got caught. I survived that F crash. And I wasn't even shorting, but I was playing with fire. I was playing with margin, and that's like drinking water out of a fire hydrant. So yeah, it's a dangerous game. Now, if you would have shorted at 1140 and you covered at 1040, then yeah, you just made $1,000 profit. But it's a in and out type of trade when you're shorting. Cryptocurrency present is an awesome crypto Christmas present is an awesome idea. Yeah, dude, it is. Especially for the young kids. Maybe leave them a note about it, just in case something does happen. But yeah, I mean, putting it on a paper wallet and then just having them stash it away for 20, 30 years. That 2028, $500,000 is very likely. So, I think a lot of people are probably expecting something more, but 500,000 in 10 years, with the type of growth that we're having and real money. And I'm not going to say, real money is not coming into crypto, but, big money, hasn't really come into crypto yet. And only time will tell when that big money starts to flow into cryptocurrency. And that's when we're really going to see this thing take off. I mean, if we're seeing this, 10x right now, that it's doing more than 10x really within a very short period of time of a year, 11 months, it's for it to have another 10x, or 20x, it's going to be very, very real. As long as big money comes in, hedge funds come in, institutional investors come in, big money just starts to pour into cryptocurrency because it's solid, it's here to stay, it's not going anywhere. It hasn't died off like a lot of people have said that it's going to die off. Would I use leverage on the bigger cryptos? Be very careful with it. I have. I mean, don't get me wrong. I have used it until I got burned. And ever since I got burned, I haven't used margin at all. But I was using it a lot. And I mean, I was making good money utilizing margin. But it only takes that one bad trade. And really, if GDAX didn't make it somewhat right, yeah, a lot of us would have been burned. I mean, burned to the ground. In regards to that F flash crash, because flash crashes can happen. They can. So that's why, it's always beneficial if you have extra money laying around just to put in a low ball offer. I don't think, F is going to get back down to that 10 cents. But to have a flash crash to $100, I mean, it's possible. The probabilities are very slim. Don't get me wrong, but it's possible that it can happen. If it happens once, it can happen twice. Now, it might not happen on the same exchange, but more than likely, it's going to happen on an exchange that it hasn't happened on yet. And I will show you guys a flash crash that happened not long ago. And I think I shared it with our Slack chat. And it was on SAN. SAN had a flash crash down to 0.0001 cents. And this thing was hovering and really consolidating in the range of 28 cents. It was really suppressed, heavy consolidation range from, let's just say 33 cents down to 28 cents. I mean, that's huge. It was just continuously suppressed, held down, held down, held down, and a huge manipulation happened here. I mean, they brought it down to 0.001, 0.0001 cents. Now, if somebody had a lowball offer in, nobody would have known to put in a 0.0001. But if you had a lowball offer in at a penny, it definitely got executed, because then it came right back up and it closed at 21 cents. So, these flash crashes, they do happen. It's just a matter of you having capital and not needing to utilize that capital and just kind of having to, set it and forget it type of limit order in the book. And then just monitor it occasionally here and there to make sure that the exchange or exchanges are not canceling that limit order that you've put in the book. And GDAX is notorious, or Coinbase is notorious for canceling, limit orders that are in the book. It's happened to me a couple of times, happened to a couple other people several times. But, this is a perfect textbook example of the flash crash happening. So if it hasn't happened yet, it can and probably will happen. It's just a matter of waiting it out and having that capital locked up. But yeah, it wouldn't have taken much at all. Somebody just either fat fingered it or the exchanges manipulated it, because there were a lot of people that had stop losses in the book, and they wanted to take out those stop losses and cause a domino effect of a major sell-off. And this is a major, major manipulation. Really, this is manipulation here. If somebody had a stop loss limit in for, 15 cents, because this thing was sitting at 27 cents thinking, it's not going to get there, I'm good. And the more people that have stop loss limits in the book or stop losses in the book, and exchanges see that. I mean, they have access to, where everybody is stacked up. And that's why these exchanges are shady. Honestly, they are the shadiest things I've ever dealt with. And in an unregulated market, not having circuit breakers. If there was a circuit breaker on this, this would have been prevented. It would have stopped it. It would have halted trading for an extended period of time. If it was somebody that was selling off, if it wasn't exchanges that were manipulating it. But yeah, this is just a complete manipulation of stealing people's coins, stealing people's money. The average Joe that would, put a stop loss limit in or stop limit sell in order to protect themselves at 15 cents, thinking, yeah, it's not going to get there, but, I want to protect myself in case it does. And it gets executed and then goes right back up to, and I mean, this happened within a minute, so if we really look at the 1 minute chart, and I don't know if I can zoom out all the way to it, I can't, but when it did happen, I looked at it, and yeah, it happened within a minute. Flash crashed a minute of it and then came right back up. But unfortunately, since it's been a while since that happened, I got to look at the 2-hour chart. No, actually, 2-hour chart's not even going to get me there. 4-hour chart, because that was October 21st that it happened. So, if anybody got this, more likely it was the exchanges that were buying this thing dirt cheap. From a penny to $1.50. I mean, that's a crazy, crazy return. But this thing is flagging. I mean, it's looking good. I wouldn't buy this thing, considering I don't have access to Bitfinex anymore. But this thing is definitely has a nice bull flag. But that support is going to be, currently it's showing us that support being 115, unless the overall market is going to drag down, and it'll drag it down as well too. But yeah, that's just a massive, massive move. Even not including the flash crash. Really going from 25 cents. 28 cents all the way to $1.49. I wish I still had my position. I wish I didn't get, psyched out and manipulated to sell. Because really, I mean, I was manipulated to sell, considering Bitfinex came out with a statement saying they're going to bar all U.S. residents, and any U.S. residents that have a position in SAN or EOS, you have 5 days to get out of that position. That statement caused me to panic sell, basically, because I saw it dropping. I bought at 25 cents, and it was getting ready to hit 47, 48 cents. It might have been at 48 cents. At that time, and I was trying to get out, so I got out at 31 cents with a nice profit. But yeah, this would have been a great profit here, to $1.50-ish. But yeah, what a night, dude! You're absolutely right about that, Darkness. What a night! What a last couple of days that this market has done. Especially BTC, just breaking every barrier like it was nothing. So let's see on the 12-hour chart what this thing. I mean, this is just it's a massive move. It's way too massive. This is a 3-week candlestick pattern. 1 week price action. And yeah, I don't know about this 6 cents here. I remember this happening. This was when GDAX was down for maintenance for a couple hours. And then once they came back online, it had a massive drop. But I remember looking at what was executed on that specific trade. And it was basically bots. It was like 0.001356 BTCs that were only executed at that, 6 cents. Nothing else was really executed. And then next execution was really close to its closing price, which was like $1,200. So we'll see on the 2-hour price action movement. Our 200-day moving average is basically situated right at $8,200, and I have $8,300 listed. So, there is a possibility that this could come down, to this range of suppression, and it's a huge range for a very extended period of time. I don't think that box is going to do any justice, but that's really the levels. If you're looking to buy, that's a level I would be patient with, and see exactly, what, get a little bit of an entry, see how she reacts to it, considering that's a spot where it had a hard time breaking out above for a very extended period of time. So the probabilities are there. It's just a matter of, how long is it going to take for it to get to that level? And the higher that it goes up, the probabilities start getting less and less and less and less. But yeah, this thing needs to come down and break that psychological level of 10,000 first, and then that's when panic selling will ensue. 100,000 new Coinbase users yesterday, just yesterday alone. Wow. So that's a lot of new money possibly coming in. But let's think about it this way, though. Those 100,000, unless they're wiring money, don't have any funds yet in that account. Not yet. But if they're wiring money, it's because that's what's going to drive this market up. Those are the FOMO chasers that are going to be coming in. Or it could be set up for arbitrage. Somebody already has Bitcoin at a different exchange and they want to be able to sell it on Coinbase because they can cash out for USD and have that USD deposited into their bank account. So we got to remember that there aren't too many exchanges, that will allow you to cash out to USD for you to be able to transfer it to your bank account. Handle the load. I don't know, man. I don't know about that. They haven't done a good job handling the load in the past, so their servers will fail. They will. Better than you. Welcome. It's great to see a new name on here. If I forgot anybody's name, I do apologize. Ivan, welcome, by the way, buddy. Let's see. I'm assuming you meant Judge. Judge can't ask to split your Bitcoin in half. He can make you sell it, though. He can make you sell half of it, whatever you have. So, we got to remember it's divisible up to 8 decimal points. So if you have 1 BTC and you get a divorce, he's going to say, all right, you got to sell 0.5 and give that 0.5, or give 0.5 BTC to your significant other, or sell 0.5 and give that cash to your significant other. Brandon from Philly, welcome, buddy. I'm glad you mentioned that. And there's always dumb money. I'm not calling anybody dumb, but that's just kind of what it's referred to. Well, that's what they're referred to, unfortunately. I really wouldn't call them dumb money, just naive, uneducated, not in the sense of uneducated, schooling wise, but, trading cryptocurrency and the psychological of trading. So, I mean, if you're getting into trading, you really understand the psychological level of how, price action movement happens, the battle between the bears and the bulls, support and resistance. That's really the psychological of trading. And they don't understand that at all. They just think, oh, what is going up? I'm going to buy. And they buy at the top where there is a strong resistance. And then it breaks down on them. And then they look at it like, man, why did I buy there? It's coming down. I got to sell. And when they end up selling at support. I mean, it's naive. It's uninformed, newbies coming onto the market. And that's really what could be causing this inflated price action movement that we're currently seeing. So is this real? Is it artificiated? It is definitely artificial, in my opinion. Definitely artificial, especially, with the possible forks that are going to be happening. Possible forks. I don't think anything is set in stone, but, December 15th, Super Bitcoin, December 23rd, possibly December 24th, Bitcoin Platinum, December 31st, Bitcoin Uranium, January 2nd, Bitcoin Cash Plus. I mean, it's crazy. And, people will buy BTC possibly thinking that these forks are going to happen so that they can actually get some free tokens out of it. So that's really what I believe is driving this price up. Now, that can be complete FUD that's being spread about these possible forks. And, I really got to think outside the box, unless it's set in stone. I don't believe it. I just think it's FUD that's being spread, causing people to buy in because they missed out on Bitcoin Cash. They missed out on Bitcoin Gold. And they want to be able to take advantage of some of these coins. And what are they going to do? They're going to buy it and they're going to hold it. They're not going to buy it and sell it because they want to take advantage of the fork. So they're going to buy it and hold it until that time period comes up. And then, it'll determine whether there is going to be a fork or not. But yeah, it's just, it's a money grabber. That's really what this cryptocurrency market and really Bitcoin is turning to. Let's see. Is there anything else that's moving? Actually, I'll share this with you guys too. I just kind of found this. I'll share the link as well too. I thought it was pretty cool. I think a little better than CoinMarketCap, but they don't list everything on there. So it's Live Coin Watch, and I went ahead and changed this to, you can make it light, you can make it dark, but you can go ahead and set, your watch list, which I went ahead and threw a couple of things on there. That this thing cooperates with me. But the price on here for BTC, was already at, 11,500, over 11,000 before it was really, before it was actually breaking out above 10,000. And that was one thing I was a little leery about. I'm like, man, this thing's already showing 11,000 for BTC. But they're just taking, exchanges, the Korean exchanges and other exchanges that have already broken out. So it wasn't really given an overall price of what BTC really is, like CoinMarketCap does. And they don't list every coin, but they have majority of the coins that are on there. But yeah, I thought this was a pretty cool site, very user-friendly, very interactive. And you can actually go ahead and set the weekly, monthly, quarterly, but you can really customize this a number of ways with the layout. But yeah, and if we really go down to, what's in the 20, 21, 22, 23 spot, we don't see, BitConnect on there. So some of these scam coins, you're not going to really see on here. Daniel, there's your Doge, buddy, 0.002, sitting at. Actually, I mean, that's not a bad move within the past 30 days, or even within the past week. But I mean, if we really look at every cryptocurrency, I mean, within the past week, they're up huge. BitShares up 47%, Decreed up 68%. Let's see what else. Stratus up 66%. List is actually the one that's really taken a hit, unfortunately, for anybody holding List. Stellar up 113%, EO 70%. And this is just the past 7 days, not even the past 30 days. I mean, if we look at the past 30 days, 154%. Cardano up 266% the past 7 days. Monero 30%. Ethereum Classic up 75%. So any of your Ethereum Classic holders, I mean, that's awesome. Bitcoin Gold 41%, Litecoin 45%. So I mean, everything is just up double digits, and that's just that's scary. That is scary. And if you need to pay bills, this might be the time to kind of lock in some of the profits. To be honest with you, I wouldn't wish and hope, because then the market is going to downtrend. It is going to pull back, and it's better to either have that profit and the capital to buy back in cheaper, or to have that profit to be able to pay bills and sustain your living, instead of hoping and wishing for something else, for a bigger picture, and it doesn't happen within a very short period of time, where it does downtrend and consolidate. But yeah, let me answer some of the questions that you guys might have, and then I do have to end this live stream. Brandon, exactly too, man. Just like the dumb money comment, you feel a lot of new Bitcoin money is just being blindly pumped into the market without any fundamental analysis. Yeah, without really any knowledge of anything. They just see dollar signs. They see it going up, and they're like, whoa, this is just going up and up and up. I'm going to go ahead and buy it. And yes, they could make a profit, if they understand the psychological of trading, and, how they can react to certain resistance or certain supports. But a lot of new people coming onto this market, like I said earlier, are buying at the high, and it downtrends on them, and then they're selling at the bottom, where really they should be accumulating at the bottom. You bought EOS at 60 cents, sold at 210. Dude, high five. High five. You didn't get greedy, even though it's at $3.09. Now, I hope you didn't sell everything at once, because I always say scale out, just like scaling into a position. I hope you didn't sell everything at once. But at 210, let's see. 210 was the resistance. So you knew exactly when to take profit. But it's always good to just take a little bit of a profit, not sell everything at once, just in case it does go up like it has. Now it could easily break back down and retest that $1.40 level. And I don't think I looked at EOS in a while. Oh no, actually I did take a look at this earlier. But yeah, selling at 210, locking in some of the profit, a quarter of what you have. And then if it breaks out, which it did, you got more to basically sell. So hopefully you didn't sell everything at once, but still, from 60 cents to 210, dude, be happy with it. Be happy with it, because you didn't get greedy, because this thing could have gone either way. So those are pretty significant profits there, bud. Maybe when I'm in Philly, you can buy me a beer with that profit. The Warpler, welcome, buddy. Yes, what a run. With everything, with just the major cryptos, even cryptos that I would not think would run, that are in the top 20. Cardano, I did not expect that to go up. But yeah, I guess when the overall market is going up, it's like you can throw a dart at just about any cryptocurrency. I would probably say in the top 50, and it's going to end up gaining some market share. Especially if something has been beat up and continuously just consolidated in the top 50. Now, don't get me wrong. I wouldn't really be looking at stuff in under 50 or even in the bottom 100. But yeah, in the top 50, it's very easy for them to make it right up to the top 30. Matthew, not a problem, buddy. Not a problem. Let's see. Thank you for spending some time on IOTA for me. Confirm my 110 entry point, trading with some profits from the pump this week. That's always good, man. Trade with a profit. Trade with house money and holding the rest. Learn tons. That's awesome, man. I'm glad you guys are learning, because that's why I do this. I enjoy it. And if you guys weren't really getting anything out of it, then it wouldn't be worth it for me to do this. But, as long as you guys are getting something out of this, and, that's really why I do it. And that kind of motivates me to keep doing this on a regular basis. I wish I could do it like, when I first started live streaming. I mean, I was doing it every day, 8 hours a day. I think the one time it was like 10 hours straight, and my computer would crash on me and I would start it back up. So there'd be like part 1 of 6, live streams for that day. But yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at IOTA too while we're at it. But yeah, just keep an eye on this. Keep an eye on it. I think, yeah, you said your entry was 110. And that 110 was basically in the past, a long time ago, was the prior resistance. Now, I would still be careful with it since that's been so long that, the major support that it's going to have is that $1. That's really the major psychological support for it, that it should hold, and should is always a magic word. But, you're playing with house money, and that's pretty good. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the year, I mean, we're only 30 days away from it, and especially if more of this news is being spread about these hard forks, how many? One, two, three, five hard forks within a very short period of time. From December 15th to January 2nd. I mean, that's unheard of to have fork after a fork after a fork after a fork. If this is true, and it's not being fed that spread to trap people in to keep buying and buying and buying, because if that happens, then it drives the price higher and higher and higher, as whoever put out that article is looking to unload and sell everything and get out before the massive tank happens. So if it's FUD that's being spread, if it's fake news, then the crash is going to be massive, because these people are waiting to unload and sell everything they have, so that they can lock in a huge, huge profit and then buy back in, when everybody's panic selling. Ramsey, so your friend just messaged you and asked you how he can buy 50,000 of BTC. Oh man. And I don't know if that's a conversation you had with him, a while back. But yeah, I've gotten, text messages from people that, I've talked to about BTC, a while ago, and they're seeing this thing because now, it's more news outlets are covering it. People on their, Facebook and Twitter are probably talking about it. Whereas before they could, they didn't care less at all. But now all of a sudden, they see it going up and they're like, man, I should be getting in. And that's, the dumb money, that Brandon said. Not to call anybody dumb, but there is dumb money that comes into this market, and that's really the dumb money that's coming in, that's fueling the fire to this crazy upside that we're seeing. Is the people that didn't take advantage of it, and they're just seeing it going up and up and up and up, and they're like, okay, you know what, I got to get in this now, and it just happens to be at the wrong time, But if they hold on to it, let's just say hypothetically, somebody, whoever bought it at $1,100. Hopefully they didn't panic and sell. Hopefully they're still holding on to it, even if it goes down to 8,000, because it is going to be a matter of time before it makes it right back up to those levels that, it was at, and start breaking, higher levels. Yeah, there are tons of buyers, man. There are tons of buyers, and it's just this new money that's coming in. These people, that fear of missing out, they missed out, you know, back in January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, and now they're like, man, I didn't get it then, so, I'm going to get in now, and they end up buying at the top. SE, that's a good way of playing it, man. That's a good way of playing it. That 8,300 to 7,800 is, like I said, is just that suppression zone. And I can't say if it's going to test it out within a couple hours, but if you have capital, that you're not going to be needing right away, and it doesn't really cost you anything, to lock it up, just to have that order in. Because to be honest with you, if it does get to that level, and you happen to kind of put that order in, later on, you're not going to be first in to be first out. You're going to be last in, and if all the sellers, if there isn't enough to sell at that level, to basically hit your order's not going to execute. And that's happened to me before, where I looked at LTC at $45 and I was on point, and it got to that $45 level. I just didn't happen to be first in to be first out. There were a handful of trades that were executed at that $45 level, and it was, it dropped from, I think, $60 to $45, and mine didn't execute at all. Now, if it was 45.01, my order, I would have had it executed. You sell, you lose. Tim OH, welcome, by the way. Yeah, unless you need money, if you have bills. So that's one thing too. I'll mention, guys. Don't play with money that's not yours. Don't play with money that you have to sustain your living with, um, because we could have an extended period of time where this thing just either consolidates or really. I mean, I'm not going to say a bear market because bear markets really don't last that long, but where it could dip to a level that you're not comfortable with it dipping to because you need that money to pay rent, within 2 weeks. So, play with money that you're not going to need, right away. I mean, we're not playing with money that we're willing to lose, to be honest with you. I don't want to lose my money. But if it is down and if I'm in BTC and it's down heavily, I don't need that money to sustain my living. So I'm going to hold it because BTC has shown us over and over again that it can go back up. But, don't play with money that's not yours. Basically, taking out a payday loan, maxing out a high interest credit card. But yeah, play with money that you already have that you're not going to be needing right away. But yeah, you only lose when you sell, especially if it's BTC, if it's a top cryptocurrencies. Now, if it's a Ponzi coin or if it's a con coin, what was it? Paycon, I think it was Paycon. If it was any of these type of Ponzi coins that have really no fundamental reasons for them moving up, they're more likely they might not move up. And if they do, it's a very short type of pump and then they end up coming back down. But if it's a solid cryptocurrency, and it's down, don't sell it. I wouldn't sell it, especially BTC. If I was holding BTC, I wouldn't panic and sell because that's really what the whales want you to do. They want you to panic and sell and cause that domino effect. Oh, you watched that video on GDAX? Yeah, dude, that was a bad time for me. So you have 20 times leverage. Yeah, just be careful. And I'm not going to say that there is something wrong with margin, but anything in moderation is okay, Ramsey. So just be very careful with it. I wouldn't leverage 20 times, 20x. But anything in moderation is okay. That's the way I look at it. As long as you're not shorting, because shorting can just be even more of a dangerous game. Is Big Connect a scam? I'm sure a lot of people can probably answer this yes and no. I mean, when they're paying other people with other people's profit, it is a Ponzi scam. But it's still paying out. It is still paying out to an extent. So until they, close up shop and take off, I wouldn't call it a scam yet. But it is a Ponzi type of structure. So I would call it a Ponzi right now because they are paying, like I said, old money with new money. And really new money is probably what's going to end up getting burned later on, when they close up shop. Eventually, they're going to run out of money to pay, all this interest rate that they're paying. So right now, it's not a scam until they close up shop. Once they close up shop, yes, it becomes a scam. Right now, it's a Ponzi type of structured return payments that they're making. So hopefully that kind of answers it. But yeah, I wouldn't call it a scam yet until they close up shop. Then everybody got scammed. 1% a day, you're better off holding PK. I completely understand. And the problem with, with BitConnect and, F Connect and all these other Neo Connect and, probably Doge Connect, Litecoin Connect, Cardano Connect, we're going to have all these other different types of connects, IOTA Connect. I mean, it's going to be really endless, NIM Connect, EOS Connect, Stellar Connect, Zcash Connect. I mean, you name it, there will be a connect for it. I hate to say it, but, you just got to be very careful, with it in the sense that, they could take your money and run. Easily they could. And you just don't know when they're going to close up shop. So like PK said, you're better off holding BTC instead of lending it out and not knowing if they're going to come back. And always control your private keys. Always have access to your private keys. That's what I would recommend. Ramsey, percent hard forks is clever because you instantly create a zillion users. Yes, indeed. And you're creating billions and billions of money, market cap. This market cap has been inflated. Honestly, it has. If we didn't have a Bitcoin Cash, fork, if we didn't have a Bitcoin gold fork, I mean, that basically added, $32 billion to the market cap. Bitcoin Diamond hasn't even really released the circulating supply yet. So once they really release the circulating supply, times that by whatever the price is now, $50, $100. It was just at $200 not long ago. That's going to make it in the top 10. Reason why it's not in the top 10 now is because, let's see, Bitcoin Diamond. Because the circulating supply is not there yet. So total supply or max supply, 210 million. Circulating supply, question mark. So it's not going to make it into the top 10 until they can actually release what the circulating supply is. So take whatever the circulating supply is, times that by $52, that will put it in the top 10. So, I mean, it's just not the overall market that's being inflated. It's also the market cap is being inflated by these forks that are coming out. Basically, it's quantitative easing to an extent, printing money out of thin air by forking. So before it was, like I said in the past, it was ICOs coming out left and right on Ethereum, and that were generating millions and millions of dollars. Now it's the forks that are going to be generating billions and billions of dollars. Yeah, exactly, Ramsey. Who needs ICOs when you have hard forks? So, the market cap to exceed, $500 million with these forks happening. I'm sorry, 500 million, 500 billion. Even that, really psychological level of $1 trillion, it can happen. We have 4 forks that are going to be possibly happening within a period of 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks, from December 15th to January 2nd. So, I mean, imagine the market cap that's going to add on to it once they release the circulating supply. And I mean, if we can remember a couple of days ago, Bitcoin Cash was not in the 6th spot at all because we had no clue what they didn't release the circulating supply. Then once they released the circulating supply, I mean, I did the math and I looked at it and I said, okay, you know what, if it has the same circulating supply as BTC, then it's going to be in the top 5, top 7 market cap. And I just basically took the price, multiplied it by what BTC circulating supply was, and I was like, man, this is going to have almost a $6 billion market cap. And what do we know? It has it. So, once these forks happen, really all you got to do is take a look at and that's if they're going to have the max supply at 21 million. Take a look at and see what BTC circulating supply is, multiply that by the actual price of the underlying, forked coin. And then that will basically tell you what the market cap is going to be. And then you basically kind of look at overall market cap and say, all right, it's going to put it right in whatever, 8th spot, 9th spot. So, we've said it before in the past, and I'm not the only one that said it, but before we know it, the top 10, the top 8 are going to be forked coins. So if we have 4 that's possibly going to be forked, we're going to have 8 total coins that are, forked from BTC. Well, including BTC, we're going to have 8 possibly forked, or 7 forked total. And then, 1 with BTC, make it 8. So the top 8 could be, BTC related. And then you're going to have the BTC forked coins that are going to fork on their own as well too. So, before we know it, top 15, top 20 is going to be nothing but forked coins. And yeah, it'll be crazy. It'll be crazy. Let's see, Ramsey, who really moves the BTC market? Very simple answer: exchanges and whales. Those are the 2 that are really dominating this market and controlling this market. And correct me if I'm wrong, guys. I haven't really looked at the comment to see if anybody answered Ramsey's question, but that's who controls this market. And I've said it before, 300 billion is a lot of money. 335 billion is a lot of money, but it's not a lot for an overall market. To have 1,326 cryptocurrencies or tokens, coins, whatever you want to label them as, because some of them are tokens, some of them are coins, and some of them are cryptocurrencies, depending if they have their own blockchain or not. But, $335.8 billion is not a lot for an overall market. So whales and exchanges can definitely manipulate this market any way they want to manipulate it. They can manipulate any cryptocurrency. They can manipulate BTC. They want it to go up, they'll get it to go up. They want it to go down, they'll get it to go down. Definitely keep that in the back of your mind. Are you ahead to just hold for a year for tax reasons? I mean, you mean qualify for capital gains? Honestly, Marcy, welcome by the way. if you're huge into profits, I'm a firm believer of locking in those profits and not holding to be like, okay, you know what, I'm going to hold it for a year so I'm not taxed at a higher tax bracket. Because it's happened to me in the past where, you know, when I was trading the traditional financial market, that's a thinking that I had where I would hold it for that year so that I wasn't, you know, paying a higher tax on it. But holding it for that long, you know, the stock would crash and it would come down. And I'm like, man, I could have locked in a higher profit, you know, 6 months ago. And now I'm trying to, you know, I waited for a year and now I'm actually down a lot more. So, you know, that's a decision you got to make. But yeah, I'm a firm believer of, you know, I mean, you're up 10x, you're up 5x, start locking in some of the profit, you know. And like I said, you know, you don't have to sell everything at once. And I would never recommend selling everything at once, but scaling out, sell 20% of your position, you know, at a 10x profit. That's huge. So yeah, capital gains, you know, either short-term or long-term. Usually I don't even think about that, to be honest with you. If I'm up huge in a profit, I'm going to take the profit. You know, I'd rather pay a little bit more higher tax on that short-term gain than holding it for a year and paying, you know, the long-term profit gain tax, but not gaining that much in profit, if that makes sense. You told your friend to buy more BTC. Let me see, buy BTC, whatever, and if it pulls back, buy more. I mean, yeah, but you don't want to buy it at the top. You know, I mean, there is a support line for it. You know, to buy it at 10,000 wouldn't be bad. You know, to buy it at 11,400 and have it dip to 10,000, you know, that would be, I would kind of kick myself. But, you know, I mean, it has that support of 10,000. So, you know, I would tell them to put that order in for 10,000. And for this thing to really come down to 10,000, it's nothing. $857 is nothing at all. I mean, we can see right from this candlestick here, it got to $10,928. And these are 15-minute candlesticks. So 15 minutes, so 45 minutes. Within 45 minutes, it went from $10,928 to $10,032. You know, a drop of almost $900, a little less than $900, basically. So it can happen. You know, so I mean, if a friend of mine said, hey, you know what, where do you think I should buy BTC? I would say, you know, I'll put in an order for like, you know, $10,050. You know, instead of buying it here and having it dip to $10,050 or $10,020. But yeah, I would feel comfortable buying it at 10,000. Yeah, you know what, Ramsey, if we had a time machine and we can go back, yeah. I mean, you know, 2014, when March 12th of 2014 was when I first bought BTC, and that was on its way down from $1,200. I bought it at 500. And it crashed for like $160. I saw it. I was flying out to Florida, actually in December 8th. I was flying out to Florida, and I saw it crashing, and I was like, oh, I just lost my money, and then it was out of sight, out of mind. I didn't even think about it. I didn't think about cryptocurrency at all. And back then, though, you know, there weren't too many cryptocurrencies. You know, so I mean, who knew what BTC would do? You know, 5 years down the road. So. Now, if you had a time machine, yeah, you can go back and load up, max everything out. I would live in a tent. I mean, I think somebody, you know, a family cashed out of BTC cashed into BTC a while ago. They sold everything. I mean, they sold everything and they live in a tent, you know, him, his wife, and 3 kids. And you can probably just Google it. And yeah, they're pretty well off now. You know, I don't know exactly when he got into BTC. I don't think he shared that, you know, but they sold everything and live in a tent. And they're definitely reaping the benefits now. Tim, is BitConnect a Ponzi? Yes, and that's exactly what I said earlier. BitConnect is a Ponzi, and there are a bunch of other Ponzi's that are out there. And yes, you can make money from it. But, you know, you just got to remember that, you know, they could easily shut down the operation and take off. You don't have access to those coins if they do shut down operation. You don't control the private keys. So I'm not saying, you know, don't get involved in it. I'm just saying, you know, be very careful. I'm not involved in it. I have no intentions of getting involved in it. But if you do, just be very careful. You know, that's all I can say. You know, ultimately, you know, you're the one that has to make that decision. But yeah, people are making money off of it. People have made tons of money off of it. But also remember, you know, it's It's old money that's being paid with new money. Tony, welcome, buddy. Welcome. It's great to see you on here. Yeah, man, and I think you were the one who wrote me a message, left a comment on one of the videos um, before the Thanksgiving holiday, and I had informed everybody that I was going to be traveling for Thanksgiving, and there wasn't going to be a live stream for a week, and I don't know if you had caught that live stream or not, but you were like, dude, where are you? This market's going crazy, and I was like, man, I know. Someone's going to get forked. Yeah, BTC has been getting forked, and a lot of individuals are going to get forked. I don't know. We'll see. As time goes on, how volatile BTC is going to be. And at the current time, you can't expect everything to just keep going up and up and up. It's not going to be all gravy. But yeah, somebody gets forked. When somebody's making money, somebody's possibly losing money. Anybody that bought at the top right now, they're down. If they sold, they lost that money. So, where there's a buyer, there's a seller. And where there's a seller, there's a buyer. It doesn't really matter what price it is. Am I buying Bitcoin Diamond now? No, I am not. I am not buying Bitcoin Diamond. I wish I would have known about Bitcoin Diamond because I would have probably bought BTC just to have Bitcoin Diamond. But yeah, I am not buying Diamond. But yeah, and I think that's really what's causing a lot of this really upward move on BTC. And I think I've said it earlier, it's these possible forks that are going to be happening if it's legit. Because people are going to buy and hold it until January 2nd to take advantage of these possible 4 forks. How big is a whale? Several $1 million, I would say. Let's see. Actually, let me Google it real quick. How big is a Bitcoin whale? And I don't know if there's a specific number that they would need to have to be considered a whale, but let's see. I don't even know if there's a definition for what constitutes you to be a whale. I'm gonna say, if you have $10 million worth of BTC, you might be considered a whale. But I could be completely wrong, though. Nah, I'm not getting much information, and I don't want to spend too much time Googling that. But yeah, if you end up Googling to see exactly what constitutes a whale, how much in capital you need to have, let me know in the next live stream, Ramsey. That'd be interesting to know. It'd be a good fact to share with everybody. But there are some minnows out there. There are some guppies, and there are guppies that turn into whales. And there's minnows that turn into whales, or they're going to be bigger whales as time goes on. But remember, there's all different types of size of whales. So $5 million worth of BTC or in capital, might be considered a whale, but it might just be a smaller whale in comparison to the other whales that are holding 20 billion or $20 million. The guy was deciding to buy BTC for 3 years. Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, I've told a lot of people to buy BTC. A lot of people. I told my brother to buy F at $10, and he didn't buy it. And he told me he was going to put $1,000 down, and I was like, "That's awesome. You'll have 100 F." And he's he's the type of person that wouldn't trade and just hold it long term. But yeah, he could have had $50,000 within and that was January, December, a little after the Christmas, that he said he was going to buy it. I even helped him set up a Coinbase account and everything. He never funded it. Marcy, I don't know if there's any good reasons not to buy Bitcoin Diamond now. It's traded on Binance, which is nice. I would wait for a pullback though. I don't know what the price is currently right now on Binance. Let's see. $51. Now, I would wait a little bit. I would wait to see if there's going to be more of a sell-off. And if BTC price is going to go up, Bitcoin Diamond might sell off because people are going to be possibly selling. If they already have their coins, they're going to be selling, to put into BTC. So, I would wait on this. And I'll definitely analyze this thing maybe a little further. But right now, it's hitting new lows, from when it was listed. I think it was listed right at 61 bucks and got up to, I think, 200. It got up to 200 on Binance, but it's showing 97 bucks or 103 bucks on here. Yeah, different exchanges are going to have different prices. But I would wait. I would wait. See how, because it's so new. And I mean, I remember Bitcoin Cash, going up, from 300, 400, 500, 600, 800 bucks. I was patient with it. And I was like, there's no way I'm buying it here. I waited for it to crash to 200 bucks. And it got to like 199. I bought it at 200 bucks. And unfortunately, I sold at 50% profit, which was nice for me. But, before it really climbed up to 975 bucks. But yeah, I would wait, give it a week or two and see how she reacts to other pressures of BTC going up and people really selling and just getting their free money. What about the kind of price synergy? Like if it shoots to $30 or 30K, you're talking about BTC, I'm assuming. If BTC shoots up to 30,000, who's losing? Anybody that's short would be losing, to be honest with you. And anybody that would buy at the top, if it was to correct, would be losing as well too. But anybody that's holding, and they bought in, let's just say hypothetically, somebody bought in at 15,000 and it shoots up to 30,000 and it corrects at 20,000. Yeah, they're down on their profit, but they're not losing, because they're still in the profit of 5,000 per coin. But yeah, the people that are losing are the ones that are buying high, and then as it corrects and has a correction, they're selling, or anybody that's shorting BTC, they would be the ones losing. But it is 12:14, ladies and gentlemen, and unfortunately, I do have to get going. I wish I can keep this going for forever. But I do got stuff that I need to complete and get done. Being a homeowner is not fun at all. There's always projects that need to be completed and get done. And I've been kind of putting them off for a while since I've been sick. And then the Thanksgiving holiday. So there's a lot of work that I do got to do. But I will be keeping an eye out on this market and see exactly, how BTC reacts. But right now, I mean, it's holding above 10,000, but 800 bucks, 880 bucks is really a drop in a bucket for it to retest that $10,000 level again. So until next time, I want to thank everybody for joining. If you're new, thank you for joining. And, don't forget to click on that subscribe button as well as the post notification, and stay connected with us on Steemit, Twitter, as well as Facebook. You guys know or ladies, I know we have some ladies in this live stream. You guys know I have nothing but the utmost respect for everybody in this cryptocurrency market. If you buy BTC at a very high price and it dips on you, I wouldn't panic and sell. That's a wrong thing to do at this current time, considering BTC has the ability to just keep going up and up and up. As long as you're playing with money you don't need. So that's probably the number one rule is, if you're going to gamble, because this is really somewhat gambling, if you're going to play this game, make sure you're playing this game with money that you're not going to be needing, within a very short period of time. And if you have profits, like Tony says, lock in those profits, be happy with them, scale out of those profits. It doesn't hurt to sell a little bit here and there as it's going up, because you really don't know at what price point is it going to have a downtrend. And if it does have a downtrend, you got profit, you got capital, you can buy back in. No respect for Roger Ver. You're going to fork Roger Ver? Oh, no, okay. You're forking Ramsey. But sorry about that. But until next time, until Friday, like I said, nothing but the utmost respect, peace and love. Guys, be good, and we'll talk next time.